Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. Today, for my little scribble or drawing or whatever you want to call it, I will be using a fountain pen that, well, is not a known brand. I don't even know if it's an actual brand. The only thing that I know is that on the nib it says modern F-0689. I don't know if the F stands for fine or for anything else, but this is all the information I have about this fountain pen. This was a case of, being late at night and being bored and just browsing around back in the day when I still had my AliExpress account and finding this interesting thing. What attracted me about it was the slits or the windows that it has in the body of the pen, and the fact that apparently in order to fill it up you use a magnet, a lot like the Pen BBS 487, if I remember the number correctly. The only difference between them is that, this one is a metal fountain pen. It has quite a little bit of weight on it, so I'm not sure what metal it is. It might be aluminum or aluminium. And obviously, it has two magnets, one in the cap and one in the reservoir, which, by the way, it's a very large reservoir. It can put to shame a lot of piston fillers fountain pens, even eyedroppers, like Japanese style eyedroppers. As you probably see, that reservoir, it's actually pretty big and it is open at the end, so making cleaning actually pretty easy if you need to remove the magnet. Yeah, the fountain pen is fairly simple in its build. Quality is decent, is not exceptional or anything like that, but for how much I paid on it, which was around 15 Canadian dollars, if I remember correctly, and I bought it, when was this? At the end of last year. So since then, it's actually been sitting on a shelf. Well, not necessarily a shelf, more like a tiny little cupboard where I keep some of my fountain pens, and I kind of forgot about it. And when I was deciding what fountain pen to use for today's or with this weekend's drawing, I found it again. I was like, hey, I forgot about this one, let's try it out. And I wasn't sure exactly what to use, so I ended up using the Karkos Orange ink. I wanted to use a ink that you can actually see through a little bit, and you can actually see the levels as you play with it. And if you look in the light, you get to see the color of the ink. So I think it was a good fit for the fountain pen and for the drawing, as it turned out. The only issues that I had was trying to actually grab a video of the effect that you get as you look through the windows of the barrel. Unfortunately, I don't know if my camera picked it up. As being a black pen, usually my camera has issues focusing on it. So I do apologize for the portions where it goes out of focus. I was trying to use my hand, my extremely beautiful model hands, I'm being sarcastic, to keep the focus in the right spots, but unfortunately I failed a little bit. In case you can't really see it that well, I'm actually putting a picture in here just to give you an idea of the effect that you get when you look through those windows. I like it. It's quite catchy, especially when you keep it against the light. So how do you fill it up? Well, as you've seen a little bit earlier, you do have a magnet in the cap, and then you have the magnet inside the reservoir. You don't have to open the barrel to fill it up unless you have to clean it properly. That's the only time you'll have to remove the barrel. And if you use the same ink over and over again, you probably will never have to remove the barrel, which in essence is kind of a good thing because as you've seen, there's no real section on this fountain pen. It's just a stub in there that you can barely grab in order to remove the barrel. And if your pen is inked, your fingers will get inky very fast. However, if you just open it for cleaning, you can clean the nib first and then you open the barrel. And that should reduce the amount of ink that you'll get on your hands. So I kind of like the concept. I do like it a lot. I don't have the Pen BABS version of the fountain pen that has the same thing with the magnet. From what I've been reading, apparently there were some issues with the magnet seizing after a while, and most probably, if I know Pen BABS, it was because of the O-rings that they're using being maybe too thick. But I don't have the pen and I never tried it. Something that I'll probably put on my list to get it, and hopefully sometime in the future, maybe I'll look at that model again. This one specifically, the mechanism of the piston or of the magnet is very smooth. I like it. I don't think it will seize anytime soon. Just to be sure, I did remove the magnet and I put some silicone grease on the O-rings. I think it already came with some, but just to be on the safe side, since, well, it's an unknown Chinese manufacturer, I didn't want to take chances, and I was like, you know what, I'll just add. It's not a big deal, and it's not gonna cost me that much. But the movement didn't improve. It was just as smooth and as pleasant to use. So things that I do like about it is the window. The second, I don't really have to open the barrel if I plan to use the same ink over and over again. And a lot of ink capacity. So this will make it like a pretty decent traveler's fountain pen. Unfortunately, it doesn't have like a locking mechanism to make sure that if you fly or things like that, you won't have spillage. So you still have to be sort of careful like any other fountain pen without a locking mechanism for the ink, or sealing, but I said not locking. Pretty good weight. Like I said, all metals should be able to take a couple of hits if you drop it by accident. I don't think it will break anytime soon. The only sort of a flimsy part that I see on the pen is the clip, which is very tiny, but it could do the job. Just don't pull on it too crazy. You probably can break it very easily. Features to note, on the barrel at the end you do have a breather hole, which I don't know why is needed in this case, since you have those big windows on the side and is not an airtight fit with I guess a cartridge, or I don't even know what to call it. I'll call it a cartridge because it looks like a cartridge. Yeah, that's about it. Very simple fountain pen. And I'm actually playing with it right now as I'm talking and looking at my drawing. I just finished the time lapse of this video and I was looking at it. Again, it's one of those finds that you see it, you buy it, and then you're like, oh man, am I gonna regret it? But then you get it and you're like, hey, this is actually kind of cool. Again, filling it up, there was no issue with it. Everything worked out smoothly with minimal air gap, which is actually a really good thing. One thing that I would say is that since the cap needs to be in contact with the barrel as you slide it up and down, I think eventually in time you will scratch a barrel, and maybe that could be an annoying point. One thing that you could do before you fill it up, you just put like a piece of tape on top of the cap, and then you fill it up, and I think that should reduce the metal on metal friction and hopefully will reduce the scratches on the pen. I'm gonna try next time when I'm gonna fill it up again, whenever that's gonna be. The ink in this pen is gonna last me a long time since I don't write that much. I had it standing for more than a day. I had no issues with the startups. It writes beautifully from the beginning. Very wet actually, as you probably seen in the writing sample. I had no issues writing with it. It's especially with this ink. I don't know if it's the ink or if it's the pen or it's the combination of both. Writes beautifully, very wet. Reverse sort of works, but not a big deal. You can definitely get some finer lines, especially if you're drawing. Very comfortable for me as I was writing, but might not be for everyone since, like I mentioned, there's no actual section on the pen. You basically, the barrel is the holding part of the pen, and it might be a little bit thick for some. Something that you need to try, unfortunately. And what else? Yeah, the drawing for today. No plans. I just wanted to use the entire page or as much as possible from the page, so I started with some blocking of some random shapes that I did, and then I just started to pull and push lines and twist them and try and work shades and things like that, and eventually I turned out with a very interesting creature or character, or again, whatever you want to call it. The challenge with this was the ink choice. Getting it darker and darker was a little bit on the painful side, but turned out that this ink, and I think this is not the first time using it, but I'm always amazed by it. Such a cheap ink and such a beautiful ink. I love it. The character turned out pretty good, and while I couldn't get too dark because of the nature of this ink, I still was able to get a lot of shading done and a lot of values out of it, which I do like. I should use this ink more often. It's a beautiful orange. I love it. It's such a cheap ink. I'll definitely need to buy some more ink like this. I think they're like $2 per ink bottle, and I'm talking about Canadian dollars, not US dollars. Anyway, going back to the drawing, a lot of shading. The entire drawing took me about 2 hours and a half or something like that, without breaks. That was like 2 hours and a half, just constant drawing. I did put the pen down here and there because I had to wait for the ink to dry a little bit, especially when I was trying to overlay more to get it as dark as possible, especially when I get towards the end. You'll see me dumping a lot of ink on the page. The knee worked out pretty well on this page. I did have to shake it here and there a little bit just to revive it. Not the pen's fault. Again, as a reminder, especially if you're new listening to my videos, this paper, it's a little bit flaky and can clog up the nib a little bit. So I did a little bit of cleaning here and there. So the fountain pen has absolutely no fault. It's just the paper and how it reacts being scratched by a nib and the ink that you put on the page. Yeah, a lot of ink, and I think I used a lot of ink. I used not even a quarter of the ink that I put in the pen, and it filled up pretty much the entire page. I loved working on this one as well. Again, not to jinx myself, I hope it will keep on going. I love these little characters that I've been doing lately. And I'm afraid to go into the larger page again because this little sucker took me 2 hours and a half to work on it. If I would have had the larger paper, I can only imagine how long it would have taken me. I would have probably not been able to finish it in one session. I would have had to probably break it down, and it would have taken me a long time. So for now, I'm just gonna keep on enjoying these little pages. Seems to fit these videos for now, at least. Things to note about the pen as I was drawing, I think I would have loved it to be slightly longer. And the funny thing, I think I would have loved it to be as long as the cap is. I literally needed only that much more. So I don't know if the manufacturer will be doing another version of this pen, or if there are any serious business that they have a lot of fountain pens and they're gonna be on the market for a while. But if by any chance they hear this message, as an idea, maybe try and add some threads at the end of the barrel, so this way you can actually thread the barrel, the cap at the end of the barrel, so this way it extends the pen a little bit more. For writing without posting the cap, I think it's fine. I didn't find it a big issue, but for drawing, especially as you've seen me, how I hold it a little bit higher up on the barrel, I would have loved it to be slightly longer. I had a little bit of trouble holding the pen without resting it on my knuckle in there. The other thing that I would recommend, maybe those cutouts for the window can be smoother a little bit. The edges can be maybe a little bit sharp. Not a big deal. I could probably work myself on that, but for somebody that might not be able to do it, maybe it might be annoying. But it's only annoying if you hold the pen higher up, as I was doing the drawing and trying to put lines on the paper. But if you hold it normally, your fingers actually don't really get around those windows, so it's actually comfortable to use. No issues for writing, at least. In the end though, I'm actually pleasantly surprised by this fountain pen, and I'm happy I took the dive to actually buy it. I'm actually thinking to maybe get another one, but unfortunately I don't have my AliExpress account, so I'm not gonna go and get another account just so I can get this pen. If I were ever be able to find it somewhere else, I would gladly purchase it again. I definitely recommend it. Definitely, in my opinion, deserves a look, or at least a try. And being fairly inexpensive, I think you won't really lose that much if it turns out that you don't like it. So give it a chance. If it intrigues you, you might like it. With that said, I think I'm gonna stop here before I start rambling again without much of a thought. Anyway, thank you very kindly for joining me today. I hope I will see you next week. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna be using. I haven't decided yet, but I guess we'll find out together next week. Thank you for joining me, and I wish you nothing but a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.